Keep silent. Written and published by Books Reader. Introduction. Have you ever noticed that the most powerful people in the room are often the quietest? They've tapped into a secret many overlook. Real influence lies in knowing when to stay silent. When you respond immediately to everything, you surrender your power. But when you put space between response and stimulus, you tap into a place of control that shifts everything. This isn't being passive or unresponsive. It's about becoming proficient at deciding when and how you interact. Your reactions expose your vulnerabilities, but your intentional silence creates your strength. This book reveals the very practice that builds this extraordinary ability, changing how others see and treat you. These teachings have empowered thousands to attain unparalleled mastery of their feelings, relationships, and results. Frequently delivering outstanding results in days. In a world of relentless noise and knee-jerk response, the one with inner stillness has the ultimate edge. Lesson 1. Stillness is the language of real power. In the midst of a chaotic trading floor, Marcus remained frozen as pandemonium broke out around him. The market was collapsing, traders were yelling, and phones were ringing non-stop. But there he remained calm and composed, observing the figures flash on his screen. As others scrambled to place panic trades, Marcus waited. His calmness was not weakness, it was his strongest asset. True power does not yell. It does not have to. Like a deep river that flows quietly beneath the surface, true power flows through quietness. Consider the most powerful forces in nature. Gravity, that holds planets in their orbits, operates in perfect silence. The massive redwood trees shoot hundreds of feet into the air without so much as a sound. Even electricity, all-powerful, travels in silence through the air. When we confuse movement and noise for power, we overlook the true reality. People use force when they have no real power. The boss who screams at employees, the honker in traffic, the one who always needs the last word. They're demonstrating force, not power. Force always generates resistance and finally wears down. Power nurtured from stillness lasts. Cultivating stillness begins with the realization that staying still doesn't equal doing nothing. It is being intentional with your energy. Imagine a martial arts master who is not wasteful with movement. Every movement is from a place of centered peace. This is the distinction between reacting and responding. Response is from stillness. You can practice stillness anywhere. Begin with 1 minute of utter stillness at your desk. Don't fidget. Don't check your phone, don't even blink. Just hold still. See how hard it is at first. Our minds and bodies are accustomed to being in motion all the time. But with practice, stillness is second nature. It becomes a reservoir of strength you can tap whenever you need to. The contemporary world resists stillness. Notifications vibrate in our pockets. Headlines scream headlines. Social media seduces us into ceaseless scrolling, but strength is found in resisting this endless motion. Like Marcus on the floor of the exchange, we can elect quietness even when the world around us revolves in turmoil. Take a fiery argument. The one who remains calm possesses the true power. While others lose their cool and get out of control, quietness keeps you grounded. You can see clearly and others become befogged with reaction. It is for this reason that negotiators practice self-control to hold firm under duress. We understand that motion tends to uncover weakness, yet immobility conveys power. Immobility provides opportunity for wisdom to surface. We can only enter surface thinking when we are going constantly, but in quiet, greater understanding emerges. Solutions surface that we were unable to discern before. Relationships become better because we answer from wisdom instead of reaction. Acquiring stillness is not an overnight thing. Begin with small steps. Spend a few minutes each day practicing physical stillness. As the urge to move arises, simply observe it and choose stillness instead. Over time, extend this practice to your mind. When thoughts begin to race, don't follow them, just let them drift by like passing clouds, while you remain centered and calm within. As your capacity for stillness grows, you will gain access to increasingly deeper wellspring of power. You will be making more effective decisions because you are not compelled by a sense of urgency. You will be communicating more effectively because your words are infused with calm strength. You will learn that the most powerful reply is often simply not replying at all. Recall Marcus on the trading floor. Where others lost millions on panic trades, his calmness enabled him to observe the trend that others failed to notice. He waited patiently, made a single cautious trade, and departed as a winner. That is the strength of stillness. It's not merely being calm. It's accessing a different kind of strength that only stillness can uncover. Lesson 2. The moment of pause between stimulus and response holds your freedom. Recall a moment when you uttered something that later you wished you hadn't. In the instant of pause between hearing those provoking words and your fiery response, there was a momentary space, a pause that went unnoticed. This pause, although brief, holds the solution to your liberation from reactive conduct. Our brains are designed to respond promptly to protect us from harm. When we're criticized or cut off in traffic, our body gets ready to go in an instant. Our heart beats faster, muscles tighten, and stress chemicals pour into our system. Although this reflex served our forebears well in the physical world, it frequently operates against us in our daily lives. Fortunately, we can train ourselves to lengthen that gap between stimulus and response. It's like developing a muscle. The more we do it, the more powerful our response choice becomes. Begin by bringing your attention to your breath when you're triggered. Even 3 slow, deep breaths can provide enough space to move from reaction to response. In the midst of fiery moments, imagine yourself standing above the scene as if watching a movie. This inner step back reminds you that you don't need to act on your initial reaction. You may become aware of your racing mind, tense shoulders, or clenched teeth. Simply noticing these feelings tends to weaken their hold on you. Practice counting to 10 before you react when someone provokes you. This ancient wisdom works because it makes you take a 10-second timeout in the reaction process. For those 10 seconds, ask yourself, will my intended response hurt or benefit this situation? How will I feel tomorrow about this reaction? These questions engage your thinking brain rather than your reactive emotional center. Another very effective tool is to envision your future self in the future reflecting back on this moment. What would your wise future self have you do? This imaginary time travel can keep you from making moves you might regret. Each pause you create increases your freedom to respond more wisely. Practice taking your pause in low-stakes situations first. When someone occupies your parking place rather than blowing the horn, take a deep breath. When your phone beeps with notifications, take a minute before looking at them. These tiny wins strengthen your pause muscle for larger battles. The pause is not about stifling your emotions or being a doormat. It's about giving yourself space to respond with wisdom rather than reaction. At times your considered response may still be firm or direct, but it is a choice rather than an impulse. Your nervous system must get used to practicing this new habit. Take 5 minutes daily to sit quietly and pay attention to the gap between your thoughts. This meditation increases your recognition of the pause when you're calm, so you can recognize it more easily when you're stressed. We all have triggers every day. A sarcastic remark, a hostile email, a broken promise. But between those triggers and our response is a space of endless possibility. In that space, we locate our power of choice, of responding, not reacting, of acting from awareness, not impulse. This is true freedom. Not the elimination of triggers, but freedom to pause and select our response to them. With practice, you'll begin catching yourself before reactive responses more often. You'll be less at the mercy of others' actions and more in control of your own. The pause is your reliable ally, a temporary haven of sanity in difficult times. In this space between stimulus and response, you'll find a freedom that no outside event can remove. Lesson 3. Silence is the space where wisdom grows. One young monk asked his master why they sat in silence for so many hours a day. The master took an empty glass and started pouring water into it. He kept pouring until the water ran over the sides. Like this glass, the master said. Our minds are already full. It is only in silence that we can make room for fresh wisdom to penetrate. Wisdom is not a product of continually absorbing new knowledge or being busy all the time. Rather, it arises from those quiet places when we permit our experience to settle and consolidate. Imagine silence as rich earth where seeds of insight can germinate and develop. We seldom have authentic silence in our contemporary world. Even when we are by ourselves, our phones vibrate, music is playing in the background, or our minds are filled with constant chatter. All this noise suppresses the quiet voice of wisdom within us, just as a clear night sky shows us stars that were always there, but not visible during the day. Silence brings out insights that were always there, but covered up by the din of everyday life. Developing daily moments of silence does not need to involve hours of meditation or a sojourn on a mountaintop. Begin with 5 minutes each morning before looking at your phone. Sit still and breathe. Attend to the thoughts that arise without pursuing them. These little islands of silence in your day are portals through which wisdom may pass. Your inner voice is a whisper, not a shout. If we're constantly bombarded by sounds and activity, we overlook its counsel. This inner voice holds the cumulative wisdom of all your experiences, but it requires silence to hear. Similar to tuning into a far-off radio station, you need to silence the static in order to hear the signal distinctly. The practice of silence also helps us to differentiate between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is obtained from outside, books, teachers, experiences. Wisdom arises when we let this knowledge penetrate deeper into our knowing through quiet contemplation. Someone could be aware of many facts about swimming, but wisdom is derived from the quiet moments of sensing the flow of water and discovering their own rhythm. Translating silence into usable insights takes patience and faith. Frequently, problems are solved, not by concentrating on them, but in quiet moments when our minds are at rest. Do you notice how answers sometimes come through taking a peaceful walk or sitting quietly in the great outdoors? It's not an accident, it's the natural progression of wisdom born in silence. Adopt silence as your friend for the day. Whenever someone speaks to you, be silent while listening rather than promptly preparing what to say back to them. If a problem has arisen, indulge yourself in silence for a bit before hastily addressing it. Whenever emotions peak, have silence be your initial response. Consider silence a deep well. The more you can learn to tap into it, the greater wisdom is within your reach. Every moment of quiet contributes an additional drop to this well, slowly filling it with understanding and insight that assist you in life. The knowledge acquired through silence is of another sort. It's more individual, more real, and more useful than merely learned information passed along from another. Ancient masters from all cultures have identified silence as a key to cultivating wisdom. They knew that truth makes itself known not in additional information or busyness, but in the silence we provide to receive it. By fostering recurrent times of silence in your life, you provide the environment in which wisdom naturally develops and thrives. Lesson 4. Your reaction betrays your power. We tend to believe that responding quickly is a sign of strength, but our quick responses really betray our weaknesses. Each time we respond impulsively, we give up control over our feelings and actions to someone or something else. It's like surrendering the remote control over our own feelings. Consider the last time that someone cut you off while driving. Did you honk your horn, curse, or throw angry gestures? At that point, you gave that stranger control over your mood. They dictated how you felt, behaved, and even influenced your mood for a few hours to come. Your response did not harm them. It merely upset your peace. Our emotional triggers are shaped by the past, childhood memories, and learned habits. Perhaps you become defensive when someone criticizes your work because your parent was excessively critical. Perhaps you overreact at being interrupted because you were ignored as a child. These triggers lurk like landmines in our brains just waiting to blow when someone accidentally steps on them. The price of automatic responses is more than just feeling bad. Reactive behavior can ruin relationships, harm our work, and even our health. When we always respond to everything that is around us, we exist in a stressed and anxious state. We are easy to predict and manipulate. Other people discover how to push our buttons to get a reaction out of us. Retaking control begins with awareness. Observe which situations trigger you to react strongly. Notice physical cues such as a racing heart, constricted chest, or tight fists. These physiological cues tend to precede emotional responses. Catching them early will help you stop before you react. Emotional independence entails establishing a gap between triggers and reactions. When you get criticized, envision their words landing on a soft cushion rather than on a hard wall. Let them drop softly rather than come back as a reaction. Breathe deeply. Question whether this trigger is worthy of your emotional investment. Learn to respond rather than react. A response is based on choice and wisdom. A reaction comes from habit and emotion. When you feel triggered, stop and ask yourself, what would a calm, confident person do in this moment? Act based on who you want to be, rather than what others want you to be. Your power increases each time you opt not to react. Each pause is building strength. Each thoughtful reply builds mastery over your feelings. Before long, you'll see that things that used to provoke you now roll off like water off a duck's back. You'll feel more grounded, centered, and in charge. Keep this truth in mind. No one can get you to respond without your consent. Your responses are yours to give or hold on to. When you cease giving them away, you begin constructing real power, the type that is internally based and can't be stolen by others. Begin small. Choose one general trigger and try not to react to it for an entire day. See how much energy you conserve. Notice how much calmer you remain. Observe how others react when they no longer can push your buttons. This is the start of reclaiming your power, step by step, non-reaction at a time. Lesson 5, Observation without judgment discloses everything. We exist in a world in which instant judgments have become second nature to us. From the moment we wake up, we begin labeling everything, good or bad, right or wrong, pleasant or unpleasant. This non-stop stream of judgment clouds our perception, making it hard to see things as they truly are. But when we learn to observe without judgment, it's like wiping clean a foggy window. Suddenly, the world comes into sharp focus. Think of a time you watched a child explore something new, curious, open, and free of judgment. That's the clarity we return to through mindful awareness. They examine it from all sides, feel it, perhaps even lick it. They are not concerned with whether it is cheap or costly, trendy, or old-fashioned. They just look with simple curiosity. This simple state of awareness is what we must recover. When we judge, we put a screen between us and the world. When someone cuts us off in traffic, we immediately classify them as rude or inconsiderate. But suppose we just noticed the event without adding our internal commentary? We may catch that they're driving an ambulance or notice their body language is tense. Simple observation brings into view possibilities that judgment excludes. Neutral observation begins with little things. Gaze at an object on your desk as though seeing it for the first time. Pay attention to its form, hue, texture, and the way light dances across its surface. Don't call it beautiful or ugly, useful or worthless. Simply look. This exercise is an easy way to develop the mental strength to handle larger challenges and conversations. Try listening without judgment about what is being said. When a person speaks, we're all usually getting ready to make our contribution or determining whether we agree or disagree. Instead, simply listen and observe. The words, the tone, the body language. See how much more is available to us when we are not busy judging. Emotions are another chance for dispassionate observation. As rage surges in you, rather than acting on it or attempting to stifle it, observe it as a scientist. See where you feel it in your body, how it ebbs and flows, what thoughts are present with it in the moment. This space between you and your emotions allows room for more intelligent response. Judgment abounds in the workplace, with opportunities to hone it everywhere. Free observation. Rather than labeling an idea from a peer as good or bad right away, see how it impacts various areas of the project. See the energy that it brings into the room, the questions that it brings up, the doors of possibility that it opens. This can tend to be more creative and lead to more effective collaboration. At times, neutral observation is confused with passivity or lack of interest. It's more the opposite. Real observation entails being present and engaged with what's happening. It takes more energy and concentration than our default judging because we're working against the stream of our conditioned reflexes. The wonder of not judging what you observe is how simple and powerful it is. It takes no special equipment or conditions. You can practice anywhere, at any time. Waiting in the supermarket checkout, stuck in traffic, or going to a meeting, there's always something in each instant where you can learn to witness without judgment. Through this process, you will discover patterns and associations that have existed all the while but in disguise behind judgment. You'll gain insight about people and circumstances more clearly, realize problems on a deeper level, and spot solutions more easily. The world gets more vibrant and interesting when you avoid placing everything into good or bad mental boxes. Neutral observation is a skill that requires practice to develop. You will find yourself judging all the time. That's okay. When you catch judgment happening, simply observe that as well without judging yourself. Each moment of noticing is an incremental move toward greater vision and insight. Begin with one situation today where you normally judge automatically. Perhaps it is your morning drive, a difficult relationship, or a mundane task that you resent. Engage it with pure observation and see what changes. The mere act of dropping judgment will show you everything you need to know about any situation. Lesson 6. Quiet mind finds solutions other people cannot see. When a severe crisis emerged at Lauren's tech firm, everyone around her lost their minds. Meetings were scheduled in a rush, and frantic voices rang down the corridors. Rather than step into the fray, Lauren did something different. She shut off her phone, went into an unused conference room, and sat for a half-hour in silence. In that still place, her mind clarified, and she found a solution that had been there all along, hidden under the din of reactive thinking. Our minds are like pools of water. When we agitate them, the surface gets rough and murky, and we can't see what's below. But when we let the water settle, everything becomes apparent. From the tiniest pebble to the darkest depths, the still mind works in the same way. As we clear out mental noise, solutions come naturally. Our contemporary world educates us that the more we think hard, the more effective solutions will be. We brainstorm, examine, and force our minds to move quicker. Breakthrough insights usually arrive in instances of mental stillness, when showering, walking outside, or relaxing with tea. It is not coincidence. When our minds settle down, we tap into deeper levels of intelligence that lie beyond regular thinking. Mental noise generates a sort of blindness. Anxiety about the future, regret about the past, and ceaseless mental commentary on the present form a thick fog that hides clear seeing. Every anxious thought adds another layer to this fog. The still mind dispels these clouds, showing us landscapes of possibility that were hidden from sight. Think about how many of the great breakthroughs occurred, not with forceful thinking, but with moments of gentle realization. Newton grasped the law of gravity while sitting under an apple tree in peace. Einstein's relativity theory struck him on a serene daydreaming day. Peaceful mind initiates possibilities that busy thinking never can. To cultivate this type of seeing, we have to learn first to acknowledge mental noise. Observe how thoughts repeatedly divert attention away from the present moment. Planning, remembering, judging, commenting, these activities of the mind generate static that overpowers deeper wisdom. By merely watching this mental chatter without getting entangled in it, space opens up naturally. In this space, solutions tend to come with unexpected ease. A work problem that had appeared hopelessly complex suddenly shows a simple solution. A conflict of relationships that seemed futile illustrates a clear way out. The answer was always before us. We just couldn't hear it over the din. The quiet mind also gains access to knowledge greater than individual thought. When the mental chatter quiets, we connect to a wider field of wisdom. Ideas and understandings emerge that feel like they are from someplace deeper than our everyday minds. It is called being in the zone by athletes. It is called being in flow by artists. This state becomes accessible at any time we move out of mental noise. Quiet is not about trying to get the mind to be quiet. Rather, it's about shifting attention away from thoughts and into present moment awareness. Notice sounds, sensations, and space around you. Feel your breath moving. Let thoughts come and go without following them. This natural quiet allows wisdom to emerge on its own. Begin with small blocks of mental stillness. Even 5 minutes can be helpful. Observe how solutions and ideas tend to emerge spontaneously in or after periods of quiet. The more you do this, the more you will come to rely on this deeper intelligence that works beyond normal thinking. Issues which had taken hours to analyze may now sort themselves out in moments of insight. The calm mind finds solutions because it is able to see reality more clearly. Without the distortion of worried thinking, we are able to see things as they are, not as we fear them to be. This clear seeing tends to naturally show us the next step forward. As Lauren found in that empty conference room, sometimes the most effective way to solve a problem is to cease trying so hard and allow quiet wisdom to lead the way. Lesson 7. Silence by a patient usually does more than quick words. We inhabit a world that praises expediency and speed. Social media, texts, and emails request that we respond instantly. Yet there is a forgotten strength in being able to wait, to be patient, and to allow silence to be the worker. Think of the example of Sarah, a marketing executive, who encountered a difficult client. The client had written an irritated email condemning the work of her team. She instinctively wanted to defend herself and shoot back with a retort. Rather, she took a 24-hour wait. Throughout this time, the client calmed down and wrote a subsequent email that she apologized for the harshness in their tone. Sarah's diplomatic silence saved her from a potential ruined relationship. Patient silence succeeds because it allows things to unfold naturally. Just as muddy pond will clear if left alone, most issues sort themselves out if we can resist the temptation to stir them up with our tongues. This doesn't imply we never act or speak. Instead, we choose our moments carefully. Patient silence is a practice that takes trust. We have to believe that not all circumstances require our instant response. We have to believe that in some cases, the best answer is no answer at all. This trust comes about from experience as we see how many issues resolve themselves on their own if left alone. In negotiations, polite silence is a potent force. When an offer or statement is made, being quiet will cause the person to fill the silence with an improved offer or additional information. This principle applies just as powerfully to personal relationships. In the heat of an argument, a moment of patient silence can stop us from saying something we'll later regret. It creates space, for clarity, for reflection, and for a deeper understanding of what truly matters. Think of patient silence like tending a garden. You don't dig up the seeds every day to see if they've sprouted. You trust the process, giving them time and space to grow. In the same way, choosing silence over reaction allows situations to unfold more naturally, often leading to better outcomes than rushing to control or fix things. In our fast-paced digital world, this kind of restraint is more valuable than ever. Before firing off a reactive message or posting on social media, pause. Ask yourself, will these words actually bring clarity or connection? Or am I just adding noise? Often, patience will result in greater understanding and more considered replies. Patient silence also creates firmer bonds. When we do not rush to speak when being listened to, we demonstrate that we respect what others have to say and what they feel. This fosters trust and further bonds. Others remember those who allowed them room to speak and express themselves as fully as they wish without interference or instant assessment. To exercise patient silence, begin in small situations. Whenever anyone says something to which you object, wait 5 seconds before you reply. Observe how this brief pause alters the nature of your response. Increase these waiting periods progressively in various situations. Observe how this practice changes the character of your interaction and results. Keep in mind the strength of silence from a patient person during intense moments. Emotions have a tendency to move us to react or say something quickly. These are the same moments that silence works for us. Allow your feelings to calm like snow inside a snow globe. The image becomes sharper when the flake ceases moving. Patient silence is not easy, it takes strength. It will make you uncomfortable initially, like you're being inadequate. However, in most cases, your silence gives people the room to reflect, think twice, and draw better conclusions independently. By so doing, patient silence then serves as leadership without forcing or pushing others. Apply patient silence during criticism. Rather than replying right away, listen carefully and take time to think about the criticism. This tends to produce worthwhile insights and greater professional relationships. Your considered reply, when it does come, will have greater authority because it's not impulsive. Lesson 8. Intercom is the basis of effective action. Sarah was in the middle of her office as pandemonium broke out around her. 2 employees had just resigned. A big client was on the verge of canceling their contract, and her email inbox was full of urgent messages. But she did not waver, her breathing calm and her thoughts focused. Her team stood by in awe as she coolly picked up her phone, made 3 calls, sent 2 emails, and within an hour had not only stabilized the crisis, but used it as an opportunity for constructive change. Inner calm isn't just a pleasant state, it's the foundation of truly impactful action. When we move from a place of inner chaos, we often end up spreading that same chaos around us. But when our actions arise from genuine calm, they carry a quiet strength that influences everything they touch. Imagine calm as the still surface of a lake. From that stillness, even the smallest ripple can travel far. In the same way, actions rooted in calm have a depth and clarity that amplify their reach and effectiveness. When the water is disturbed and choppy, it is not possible to discern what's on the bottom. But if the surface is flat and still, you can look straight down to the bottom. It gives you such visibility that you can pick out both danger and opportunity which might otherwise escape detection. So too with your mind. Intercom provides mental clearness, which means wiser choices and stronger actions. Developing unshakable calm begins with realizing that real calm is not about stifling motions or pretending all is well. Rather, it's learning to create enough inner space to contain whatever shows up without getting carried away by it. That involves learning to sit with uneasy feelings without reaching for fixing them or shoving them away right away. Practice starts with your body. Pay attention to how tension appears in your shoulders, jaw, or stomach when you're tense. Make a habit of performing regular body scans throughout your day, intentionally releasing tension in the body when you come across it. Your mind and body are very much connected. When you release tension in the body, tension in the mind starts to release naturally as well. Breathing is another great tool for establishing calm. Take 3 deep breaths whenever your calm is challenged. Lengthen the exhale over the inhale. This automatically engages your body's relaxation response. The best part about breath work is that it's always within reach, wherever you are and whatever is going on around you. Consistent meditation develops your ability to be calm, but you don't have to sit for hours in silence. Even 5 minutes of quiet sitting every morning trains your mind to come back to stillness more readily during the day. Imagine building a peaceful home sanctuary that you can always come back to when things get tough. The true litmus test of intercom comes in trying times. Begin small, exercise staying calm in the face of small inconveniences such as traffic or long queues. As your threshold increases, you will find yourself remaining composed through larger trials. Calm is not passive, it's a state of dynamic readiness so that you can respond with power and precision when necessary. Maintaining a peaceful atmosphere also enhances inner peace. Minimize extraneous noise and clutter in your environment. Switch off notifications on your phone. Establish regular quiet times in your day. These outer supports facilitate easy inner calm. Above all, recall that calm is contagious. If you stay centered in difficult moments, you become an anchor for others. Your calm presence helps to make possible clearer thinking and solutions to arise. That is how inner calm is a foundation, not only for your own effective action, but for positive change in your broader circle of influence. With regular practice, you'll find that calm is not an occasional feeling but a part of who you are. From this position of profound stability, you'll be doing things that are more deliberate, more forceful, and more effective than ever before. Your calm presence is a power for good in a more and more turbulent world. Lesson 9: Stillness reveals what the noise conceals. At the center of New York City, an experienced stock trader by the name of Michael learned something remarkable. As his co-workers nervously watched several screens and responded to each movement in the market, he cultivated a different strategy. Every morning, he would come early and sit quietly for 30 minutes before the markets opened. It was in this quiet time that patterns revealed themselves that others overlooked altogether. His quietness became his biggest advantage in a sea of continuous noise. The contemporary world overwhelms us with constant information, alerts, and distractions. These produce a dense fog that hides what is really important. Similar to a lake that must calm down before you can see to the bottom, our minds require quiet to see deeper truths. When we silence the surface commotion, we start to see subtle cues and significant details that were always there but masked by the turmoil. Think of stillness as a powerful lens that brings life into focus. Without stillness, we only perceive what is obvious and respond to the surface of life. With stillness, we see the small changes in individuals' faces that show us how they really feel. We're aware of patterns forming before they become apparent. We know something's not quite right in a situation, although we can't put our finger on why just yet. Finding stillness becomes a practice with starting by scheduling regular blocks of quiet time throughout your day. That doesn't require you to sit in meditation for hours. Even short periods of quiet can provide valuable insights. Try to turn off all devices while having your morning coffee. Take a silent walk with no headphones. Sit in your parked vehicle for 5 minutes prior to going into your workplace. These inner stillnesses become windows through which you behold what others miss. As you develop interior stillness, layers of understanding that were once invisible will become apparent. Suddenly, you may realize why a friend has been behaving differently of late. A solution to a long-standing issue may reveal itself spontaneously. You may observe patterns in your own actions that have been holding you back. These insights don't emerge from overthinking or trying harder, they surface naturally when we create space for them. Much of the noise in our lives acts as a distraction, keeping us from facing the deeper truths or difficult realities we might prefer to avoid. Stillness removes these distractions, gently revealing things as they truly are. It can feel uncomfortable at first, like stepping into cold water, but that discomfort is part of the process. What emerges in its place is clarity, honesty, and the kind of self-awareness that leads to real growth. It is only by viewing things in clear sight that we can make effective changes and good choices. Try keeping a stillness journal. After times of quiet, record what you noticed or understood. After a while, you'll be surprised at the insights that turn up when you take regular time out from noise. You may see patterns in your relationships, see opportunities at work, or clarify major life choices. Quiet also demonstrates the difference between urgent and crucial issues. During the distractions of everyday life, everything looks like it should get our instant attention. However, during still times of quiet thought, we're able to see more clearly what really calls to us. Having this vision gives us permission to use our energy and our time more astutely. Practice with stillness serves us especially in times of transition or upheaval. While others are swept up in reaction and speculation, your capacity to step back and perceive clearly is an extraordinary asset. As Michael, the trader who discovered clarity in pre-market stillness, you learn to look beyond the obvious and act from a position of greater understanding. Stillness is not about eliminating all noise from your life. That would be impossible and undesirable. Rather, it's about establishing spaces where clarity can arise naturally. These flashes of awareness then guide you in how you interact with the active, noisy aspects of life. The wisdom of quiet moments translates into a guiding light that keeps you oriented during the chaos of contemporary living, more wisely and efficiently. Lesson 10. The master responds only when necessary. One experienced martial artist recently taught a timely lesson to his students. He told me that he had spent 40 years training, and he had been in hundreds of potential fight situations but only really used his training 3 times. The real mastery, he said, wasn't learning how to fight. It was learning how not to fight at all. This is a lesson that extends far past the martial arts. Throughout our lives, we tend to feel we must react to every situation that presents itself to us. We dive into matters that do not require our participation. We respond to taunts that deserve no response. We hasten to correct things that may correct themselves if left undisturbed. The master knows that real power is in selective response. Consider nature itself. A great oak tree doesn't respond to every wind that shakes its leaves. It responds only when the wind is powerful enough to require movement. The lion doesn't pursue every animal it encounters. It waits for the appropriate time, saving its energy for when action is actually required. This is the path of mastery. The technique of minimal intervention involves keen insight and patience. Ask yourself before reacting to a situation, does this actually need my energy? Will my response enhance the situation? Is this the appropriate time to react? These questions sort out unnecessary reactions and conserve your energy for what is important. Think of how much of our emotional and mental energy we expend on things that are not even worthy of them. Each time we overreact, we expend the energy we may need at a crucial time. The master is aware of this economy of energy and keeps it in safe custody. The ability to respond only when the situation demands also equates to honing a sense of timing. There are times when doing the right thing at the wrong moment can become the wrong thing. The master observes and waits, recognizing that timing is as important as the action. They realize that early intervention is as damaging as no intervention at all. Such a method involves trust. Trust in the spontaneous unfolding of events, trust in other people's ability to take care of their own events, trust in other people's ability to manage their own difficulties, and trust in the judgment of restraint. It involves moving away from the ego's desire to be noticed doing something, and instead being concerned with the real need for action. Living in intentional restraint is not about becoming passive or disengaged. Rather, it is about being more intentional and effective in your response. When you do elect to act, your response is more impactful because it is the result of thoughtful reflection, not reactive passion. Consider your responses to be precious gems. The less common they are, the greater their value. When a person with habitual restraint does speak or act at last, others take notice. Their actions and words mean so much more just because they don't spend them on anything that's unimportant. Mastering this path starts small. Begin by picking one part of your life in which you have a tendency to overreact. Train yourself to restrain your spontaneous responses. Observe what occurs when you refrain from leaping in to correct, offer advice, or take over. See how often things sort themselves out on their own. The ultimate aspiration isn't to be unresponsive, but selectively responsive. Similar to a virtuoso musician aware of the utility of both notes and rests, you master the art of playing your role in life with flawless timing. Your actions become analogous to strategically placed brushstrokes on a canvas, each one intentional, essential, adding to the collective loveliness of the piece. The master's method is the method of refined simplicity, doing less yet better. It's about crafting every response with meaning, each word significant, each move consequential. In an age that more often than not expects instant response, the quality of responding only when necessary proves a rare yet potent skill.